What's up guys, I'm Chris and today you're watching a magic review on the Trinity Board by Paul Carnazzo and Century Magic. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment on any questions that you may have about the product I'm reviewing or anything that you'd like to see reviewed in the future. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss a review. What is the Trinity Board? The Trinity Board is a mentalism tool that can be used in all sorts of different routines and applications. This is what it looks like. This can be used to predict anything on billets from objects, locations, names, events, the list goes on, to playing cards using a principle that as a mentalist you probably already know. This can be used on one spectator to predict three things or three spectators to predict one thing from each. What do you get? So you have the hard shell box here with the nice packaging that you see in the infinity blocks. You get the Trinity Board. I'll give you a close-up here. Now, this is 3D printed and it is made with a wood composite, I believe. It looks really nice. And then you also get a stack of billets. In the demo, Paul presents the Trinity Board using a mental epic routine with three spectators around the table. Each spectator writes down their object or whatever that is. It is then folded and placed in the board. So it's placed in the board. Now if you on the other side of the camera are spectator 1, that's facing you with the number 1, then folded 2 and 3. The spectators are always aware of where their prediction is because of the numbers pointing to them. The price on this is $65 or at an additional $10 for international shipping. The tutorial is 31 minutes long. You get some history on the Trinity Board and some ideas, as well as your basic handling and 3 routines. Paul goes over the mental epic routine. He also does a routine with tarot cards where the spectator cuts to a card and the card has already been predicted and you give the spectator or participant a reading. There's also a clever peek method using the Trinity Board combined with the Acitus Novus or Acetus Novus, however you pronounce it, peek. Difficulty level. Using the principle that you probably already know if you're a mentalist, this is very easy to do. And using the Trinity Board itself, there is a move, but it is the easiest move that you will ever do, and it goes completely unnoticed. You don't even really need misdirection. Angles. This is angle proof. There are no angle restrictions. The board is set down. You have your spectators around you, and this is what they see. Now, I should have mentioned in the tutorial the mental epic that is used. There is a psychological force. Now, if you're not comfortable with the psychological force, there are other ways of doing it. Paul teaches a number of techniques in order to accomplish the psychological force, but again, if that is something that you're not 100% comfortable with, you can alternate that by using any type of force that you already know. There are no arts and crafts. This is ready to go out of the box. Setup and reset. There is no setup unless you are predicting 3 things in advance and forcing 3 things. Then you would just fold up playing cards or billets with your predictions on them. But other than that, this is usually done starting like this, ending like this. Reset is instant. I'm not going to say what you do there, but it's instant. And examination or inspection, I mean, they're going to be looking at this thing, they're close. However, I wouldn't hand this out for examination because it is very likely that they will discover the secret or the method behind this if you hand it out. Pocket space. It's about as tall as a deck of cards, a little bit wider, but very thin. It'll fit in your pocket. Doesn't take up much space at all. Is this a worker? I guess it depends on what you're doing for work, what kind of gig or event you're doing. I wouldn't say this is for walk around unless you are able to sit yourself at a table with your participants, which isn't usually the case. However, if you are performing a close-up act or a parlor act or anything like that, where you are seated and you can have 3 participants come up, then yeah, this can be used at any working event. Who would use this? Mentalists or people who combine magic with mentalism. There's really not any restrictions on who can use this. It's very simple to use, and once you learn the principle behind it, anybody can use it. Is it worth your money? This is $65. It's, a custom prop that you can't find anywhere else. It does look interesting. You could add a story behind this, and for everything that it can do, I think that this is worth the $65. Pros and cons. The pros are that there are a lot of applications that you can use with this, different routines that don't all feel or look the same. It allows you to do many things. Aside from basic predictions, you can also use it in peaks, and that allows you to perform mentalism as in mind reading. So instead of predicting something, you are placing it in the board, and then you are, however you want to do your revelation. Very easy to use, looks good, packs small, plays big. Negatives, being 3D printed, you do have the consistent perfect lines throughout. I don't think that anyone's going to make note of that. It's just when they're looking at this, like if you've provided a story behind it where this is a antique of some sort or something that was used in the past, and they get up close with it, they may notice, the really perfectly straight, consistent lines and know that that story is not true. However, it does also look like wood grain, and they're not going to be looking at it super close. So I don't think that that's going to affect anything. It's definitely not something that I'm worried about. It's a nice piece. I think you can get a lot of mileage out of this. And I think that pretty much covers everything that I have to say on the Trinity board. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check this out, pick it up for yourself. Again, comment if you have any questions, and we'll see you at the next video.